DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
So, MJ, we could be doing a show, but, the Minnesota Vikings are playing right now.
Who, what?
Football?
Oh.
Yeah, that brown thing about so long.
Oh, trust me. In the city that I live in, you have to know everything about it or you get put up on a stake.
Pretty much.
Hung out to dry. Yeah, there's no option not to know about that
that sport in Pittsburgh. I get that. I get that. Good evening and welcome to our show tonight. We are going a little bit early. For those of you who are trying to catch the Jeff Short, Jeff Short ended up in the emergency room tonight, and I don't know exactly what's all. Hopefully Jeff's all right. He did message me and such and let me know that he had something. And he said he would have much rather been on video than with the emergency room situation, which I guess I get for surely. So our thoughts and such are going out to Jeff, and we will catch up with Jeff some other time because I really wanted to have Jeff. Jeff, for those of you who do not know, he is part of Chauvet and he does his lighting thing, but he is also a very accomplished actor and performer. And what I wanted to have him talk about was how some of the skills and different things that they have in the acting and stage world translate over to DJs in our performances, which is kind of an interesting study when you dig into that. So that'll be a show for a future day. Didn't work out tonight, but hopefully everything will be good with Jeff and such, and we'll be able to do that. So instead, this is my co-host tonight, Dan. Wait, no, that didn't work either. If you follow, again, social media, you saw that Dan is sick today. He said he wasn't getting off the couch. I personally think that he probably told an off-color joke, and the missus said, yeah, you're not, you go sleep on a couch.
You got a timeout.
What's that?
He got a timeout.
Oh, he got his out. Yes. He probably did. And then I saw another picture with one of his children doing a band concert for him. So that was pretty.
Oh wow! I did see that. That's right.
Yeah. So that is pretty cool. So hopefully Dan will be better and he can get back to school tomorrow, and then we'll have Dan will be back next Monday. So MJ's filling in. So thank you, MJ, for jumping in tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So give us a little to bounce kind of back and forth. I've got a number of topics we're going to hit, and we're going to kind of go through in somewhat of a rapid succession because we don't want to spend too much time on some of the earlier topics because some of the latter ones are going to be more interesting. So first off, we wanted to talk, last week Dan and I did a show about Black Friday. Now, MJ, I'm sure you have gotten about 1 million emails, as have I, and probably as have all of us, of Black Friday deals that we're going through, and everyone had this, that, or the other thing. Is there anything that you saw, MJ, in your observations that was like, oh my gosh, this was a really cool Black Friday deal in the industry or even outside of the industry?
3 things, and I'll tell them really quickly. 1, I knew about. Serato was doing half off on their software.
Yep.
2, I like to go to Virtual's page all the time and look and see what they're doing. And their Content Unlimited, they were doing 75% off for that. So I got a month of Content Unlimited for $2.63. So that one was a good one. And I have been looking for a long time for a portable battery pack to carry, like when we do our expos and stuff like that, to have in a pack to pop the phone in or the camera or whatever. And picked up one Black Friday through Amazon for real cheap, a 26,800 pack. So it's a huge pack.
Goodness gracious. You'll have to have wheels under that when you're hauling it around.
It's probably, how can I describe it weight-wise? A brick of lead, maybe. I don't.
Bar of gold, maybe. I don't know.
It's big, but like I said, it's to serve the purpose for things like that, to where that I can be at an expo and be down on the showroom floor all day, charging phones, charging cameras, letting somebody else, hey, whatever. I should, if I'm correct with the numbers right on my phone, because I have a Note 10 Plus, which is a big battery. I should be able to get 6 charges off of that for that phone alone. So that means I can run the whole day and never have to go back. I never have to worry about anything. And I have a 200 megabyte card in it. So I never have to worry about running out of space. So it's now my thing for when I'm out doing stuff. I never have, with that battery pack, I won't have to go back unless I have to use the restroom.
Wow. That's really impressive because smartphones have such a big battery capacity that to fill that, there's numerous that are like, oh yes, here's this little thing and it'll get you about 15% on your phone. It's like, okay.
That was the problem I had because I did have several little ones, and this was one here. Another one I had was this big, and didn't get much out of it. Yeah, but the other one, like I said, it's probably about like that big, 26,800 milliamps, which is just under the 27,000 which you're allowed to take on an airplane. So it's just right there where I can still take it on an airplane
when you're on the road. Excellent.
Yeah.
As far as the Serato is one actually that I was going to mention on Select Mix. We actually talked about this last Monday. Was the Select Mix sale, and people were able to buy like everything, their whole catalog. They had that on sale, and I've talked to a couple of people who purchased, and they're like, "Yeah, there's some fabulous stuff because they do a really nice job with their mixes." And they didn't. It was a great price on it and such. Unfortunately, on Friday, I was busy getting ready for what we'll talk about in the next part of the show, so I didn't do really much of anything. The only sale I saw on things outside of the industry that I kind of looked at and I hemmed and hawed and then I passed on it was our good friends at Home Depot had advertised the Ryobi 9 amp hour battery that I've been using with the inverters. I've got one of those. They had them for $89 ahead of Black Friday. Then for Black Friday, they had that battery and the charger for $79. So I thought, well, heck.
I wonder what they make off of them with all these one day just price drops, and they're making money off of them.
Exactly, because that battery, a week or two ago before it was a special purchase, was like $149 by itself. Yeah. So it went down to $89. I bought one. I bought a second, so I have two. And then Friday it was $79 with the charger. And I didn't. It's like, you know what? I'm busy today. If it's still there Saturday, I'll buy one. Well, it's gone up to $99 for the charger and battery, which isn't a bad deal. But it's now that I've seen the cheaper price. Now it's like, I can't do it. So
if you guys haven't seen the videos John did on those inverters and stuff, it's some really cool stuff for any kind of mobile DJ. Being able to hook up things on the go. I was really impressed with that whole setup, something I never would have thought of, and could be seriously put to use in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, for sure. They are definitely a neat tool. That's and it's not for every application. There's many places where they will not function or will not work, but when we'll be getting to the next tier, that this is one of those areas in which they actually did work as part of that setup. So I know Jimmy was talking. He got himself a TV today. Walmart. If you're in the market for a TV today, Walmart had some incredible prices on when you can get a 50-inch TV for under $200. And yeah, granted, it's not a name brand. It's whatever. I don't remember whatever it was, but still. At $200 for a 50-inch TV, it's still the resolution of 4K unit. How times have changed.
Seriously, the TV I have is a 32 that I bought when I bought my house 11 years ago. It's still flat, but it's not like the tiny no bezel stuff that's out there now. And I paid hundreds of dollars for it, and now you can go to Walmart, like you said, and get a 32-inch TV for like the cheap no brand for under $100.
Yeah, exactly.
And that just blows my mind. That's I'm looking at my computer screens here because I run dual screens here in the studio, and I could probably for the price I paid for these put two 32-inch TVs up as monitors here in the studio.
Yeah, well, and that's using it as monitors. That's pretty much what Michael, my son Michael, has done. Is he's got a 65-inch. He bought a high def one, and it's cool. I mean, when he's got he's using Studio One. Is that it? Okay. From Personas. So when he's got that loaded, and it's got all the channels and all these different things, and it's like, oh, that looks really, really cool. I have no idea what he's doing with it, as far as I just hear the going on, all the rest of the night.
I'm just running 222s here. Yeah. That's all I got in the studio, and I was pretty proud of that until now. I see what's everybody else is running.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, oh,
wow. In my world, these will have to break before I replace. Same with the TV. I've been wanting a new TV, but I'm like, the other one works just fine.
Yeah, exactly. I can see when they have a tornado warning go through. That's all I need to see.
Yeah, I didn't even think I have that.
So
Anyway.
yeah, we'll get to moving on. So Black Friday was there. Probably the biggest thing I'm happy getting past this is the endless emails. There was a company today that 7 emails I saw from this company, and finally it's like, I'm done. I'm off your list. I don't care. I have purchased from you in the past. I haven't for a couple of years. I'm done with you. There was 7 today, 4 or 5 yesterday. I should search. I bet it was going to be pretty much close to between Thursday to today about 20 some emails. Just not going to do it. For those wondering, we did Disc Jockey News, DJNTV. We had a video Black Friday deal where if you bought a ticket, you didn't have to come to the DJ convention, but you had to buy the full ticket, which was $200, and for $50 you could buy the video access. So for $250 you bought all the videos from the main seminar room, which you can see out at djntv.com/show. We had some people who jumped on that, but the problem we had is that there was so much noise from Black Friday. Your news feed is full of ads, Black Friday ads, and your email is full of emails. It's like, you know what? We're going to just not be part of that noise, and instead we're going to offer it one more time. But we're going to do this like for those of you, my birthday's in December, and they're like, well, let's do it for your birthday. It's like, okay, whatever. So
there you go.
It'll be $50 celebrating the first anniversary of my 50th birthday. Yes, that's it.
There you go.
There you go. Anyway, so there's going to be one more opportunity for those of you who would like to buy the video access to the DJ convention. We're going to have that. And this is really designed for those of you who are going to be there and you want to be able to get this for $50. You're going to be able to get the video so you can reflect. You can show them to your staff, whatever. And then for those of you who can't get to Vegas, yeah, you've got an investment, but it's a lot cheaper than having to fly down and get to hotel. And I get that. $300 is a lot easier to absorb than $1,500 or whatever it would cost to go to Vegas. And not that it would be that much, but I mean, I don't want you guys to go down there and just sit, not do anything. You gotta have a little fun, like buying a Steak and Shake burger.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's the Black Friday. Let's get into the cold weather event. So last Friday, what I was doing was doing sound for a parade in one of our local communities. They have this holiday kickoff event, and many communities have parades around the country for Thanksgiving Day parade, whatever, getting holiday, Christmas parade, whatever you want to call it. So it's nothing new. They happen not too often in Minnesota because last night it was 1 below. 2 weeks ago it was 5 below. We get really cold weather, and it's really tough to get, to be throwing candy at kids in a parade when the candy freezes in midair and becomes a little, hard rock that bounces off their forehead. Mommy, the candy hurt me. That kind of a thing. So you got to be careful in Minnesota when it comes to parades. But we decided to do one. And when they contacted me, they were like, we want to have some Christmas music being played during the on Main Street, just set your DJ system up and then have this music kind of going through town while we're doing our things. And I thought that was nice. But let's see if we could do better. If we could start putting more speakers out and kind of spread the sound out. So what I did is I sent them 3 proposals. One was just the DJ system. One was like adding, maybe another set of speakers and spreading it out probably 150 feet wide. And then the top of the line option where we basically covered a half mile of downtown with sound. And they went to their committee, and I figured there was absolutely no way they're going to go with that option because it was 3 times the money of the other 2 options together. They did. That's the one I wanted to do. So initially I was thinking about going and doing wireless, and Ben and I talked about wireless stuff, and we talked about in-ear monitors and being able to broadcast and using directional antennas. And we figured that with that we could probably get about 200 to 300 yards, across a stadium type of antennas is what the idea was. Well, when I was testing some different things as the fall was kind of progressing, my little Sennheiser things, these are one of the version. I've got a few of them. These are supposed to run for 5 hours in decent weather. When it starts getting colder, they don't last as long. And we got to the point where I'm talking to Ben, and it's like, Ben, what happens when we're doing these in-ear monitor things? Because those are all belt packs, these Sennheiser belt packs that use AA batteries. Will they last or not? He goes, they should. Okay, should isn't. Should doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we ended up deciding that we were going to go complete wired. So we have feet upon feet of XLR cable. We ended up having, we ran, I believe, about 750 feet to the left, and we ran a good 1,000 feet to the right. And then we actually ended up using the Sennheiser to jump across streets. So,
oh, wow.
So you ended up with the jump across the street, and the streets were about 200 feet wide, which I was surprised the Sennheisers were able to do that. Yeah, maybe 150 feet wide. They were wide intersections. And because we went from light post to light post, so we were even street, sidewalk, in and back a little, recessed a little farther than that, just because we wanted to secure things. So it was quite an ordeal, and I've got some photos and such here. So that was part of it. The other part is I get a call last Tuesday, or maybe it was recently. A church group was doing this. They wanted to do a live nativity scene in this little shelter. And this little shelter was a bike shelter that was kind of away. There was the businesses, but there's a bike trail through town. And it was a ways away. There wasn't any power within 200 feet of it. And there's no way that they could rent power from anyone. So they're like, okay, we want to do this, and we need to have some sound. We want to have some lighting. So this is where we get into pictures here. I'm going to just share the screen. And I'm looking over here because that's where the other computer is that has that. So this is a shot of a bike shelter. It's just a little pole building. You're seeing almost the full width of it, or the full size. I needed to illuminate, actually, no, this is 2/3 of it. There's another third that was a pen with some more animals on the other end. But I needed to illuminate this and have sound on this. So here's where, if you look on the very top, that's the EasyLink, the Chauvet EasyLink Q1BT, whatever they are, the little floodlight there, magnetic. So I went and I put 8 of them up in that ceiling and shined them around, when I set them up, there's before any of the performers were there, because it was pretty cold. So they came like 10 minutes before the start. And I had set them, and it's like, okay, folks in charge, don't be afraid to turn them to highlight where people are going to be more. Well, as you can see with the people in the left corner, they didn't do that. But that's okay. So I used that. Now the problem we came is, okay, they needed to have sound. So I took my little Yamaha stage pass system, and here's where that little Ryobi inverter, put that 9 amp hour battery on there, and they were able to run music for about a half an hour before. They ran for the whole time that they were there, and then probably about 15 to 20 minutes after. So it was about an hour and 45 minutes that ran. And it was playing a 15-minute cycle of music that kind of told the story of the nativity that they were doing. I kind of zoomed in a little bit more to give you an idea of what those little spotlights were able to do when I had them, because they had the straw bales there when I set everything up, and it's like, okay, that's where they were going to put the baby Jesus up. So I knew that would be a spot where we needed to light up, and it turned out really quite well, I thought, considering this is all being done with the tiny little things. And that was just kind of showing another shot of the animals and such. So this was all done battery-wise. They had one more light that actually shined down the bike trail about 75 feet that was being run by another one of the Ryobi, the packs. That particular one, they had I believe the angels were out there, and they wanted to have it so they could turn a light on over there and have the angels glow when they got to that part of the story. So they would have the 2 kids kind of go over there in the dark in that spot. They put I put one of my the American DJ 5 the hex lights, one of the floods, a 5 LED flood. I put one of those over there. They ran a 75-foot extension cord over to the Ryobi inverter, and when they wanted the light on, the guy was behind the building, and he'd turn the inverter on, 1001, 1000, and then it would turn the light on. So that became his light controller and power supply. And it would come on, and it was white light. The angels would glow, oh, and then after that part of the show that little part of their 15 minutes was over, he'd hit the button, and it would go out again. So that worked out well. So we used 8 of those little EasyLink Chauvet units, which are the Bluetooth ones with the battery in it, and then of course we used 2 of the Ryobis for sound and additional lighting. Then where I was at, they had put this truck for a stage, and I wanted to do something to kind of make it stand out and make it look like it's kind of fun and seasonal. So we made the whole bed of the truck. These are more of the Chauvet. These are I don't even remember what they name out. These are the EasyLink the trees that they have with the Bluetooth capability, and you can look those up. It's in that BT, the whole BT line. I have 3 of those, one on each side and one on the back, and that illuminated that. And it was interesting because with the lights going, kids would come in and dance to some of the Christmas music in front of the truck. So it was
all it takes, John, a little bit of lights and sound.
A little bit of light and a little bit of sound. And what I did in this, they ended up having this back about half a block from the main street. So I had a couple of speakers illuminating, or I should say, giving audio in this area. And then we did the main street up and down the street. This was a shot going to the west. And let's see, the very first speaker is actually, I wonder if this will show up. No, it won't show up. The very first speaker is on not the first light that we're next to, it's the next light. And we went every other light down the street for 4 speakers. So it was, the next one had like an EKX, and then the next one had another EKX set. And I did 12-inch tops all the way. I did my 15s next to the trailer where you saw that. But these were 12-inch tops all the way down the street. And we went down, we were able to jump, we went 3 of the light posts, and then the 4th one is where we had to go wireless to cross the street to get to the other end. And then we did, going the other direction, we did the same thing. This one you can actually see that the first one we did a speaker stand there. And I basically tied them to the power poles. The power poles have an outlet on those, so we were able to tie into that. So we just basically tied into that, and we ran the XLR cables to the light pole and back against the buildings and just shot right down the edge of the building. Then about, what would be the 4th light pole, somewhere in there is a very active drive-through area that was, in essence, a busy street. We jumped across that particular one. And then so we were all the way down, I think 4. Yeah, we were 4 that way too. So we started with 1, so it would be like 7 down instead of 6, or the other side, whatever. So we covered a lot of ground with that. Let's see, I think that was the last one in that. So that was the setup. Now, as I look at that, when we were setting up and you had the traffic during the day of the trucks and things rolling through, Michael was with me helping. And we had some sound as we were going down and setting up, and we're thinking, this isn't working. We need to have a speaker at every light pole instead of every other one. And we were so disappointed, thinking, oh my gosh, they spent big money to have us do this, and it was going to be very pedestrian and be like, oh, that was dumb. Well, it turned out that once things kind of quieted down and the semis weren't rolling through town, it was absolutely fabulous. Every other light pole was perfect. And yeah, we did have the volume up a little bit more then than we did during the day when there were still businesses. I mean, we got there at 1 o'clock and we started setting up. So you have businesses going until 5. But the response from the people who were there, this has been, I think, the 25th year. A number of people came up and said, this was the best year ever. And it wasn't because of the weather. It was cold. There was a cold wind coming down. We had some rain showers going on. But just that, adding that music that carried with them, because they would go into businesses and they'd go have popcorn over here. And then the butcher shop had meat sticks for $1. And then they'd go over to the other place and they had this. And then there was a reindeer ride. And then there was a horse carriage ride. And then there was a tractor pulling a little cart that had lights all over. So there were things going on for the families to do. And that having music for the whole thing really, really kind of helped the situation. The interesting part about it is after we were done, I had 2 people from other communities come up and they're like, this is really cool. Could you do this in the summer too? I'm thinking to myself, no, you can't run sound in the summer. It doesn't work. You can only run sound when it's snowing. Here's your sign type of thing. But it was a neat experience for that. Before we were even done with the thing, they were pretty much like, we're doing it again next year. We want you here back to do it again. So there's a couple of things that I'm going to do differently. A lot of you have heard me, of course, talking about these little Sennheiser devices, and they worked wonderfully. But there is a difference in the systems. Now, There's this particular system has, it's probably the wrong one, but it has the 1/8 inch out, because this one's meant to mount on your camcorder. So it has, the in is an XLR, so you can put your Shure 58 on that, and then you can put this on your camcorder or your camera and run it in. This particular one has a mic level signal that comes out of it, which is way too low for what we're doing. So what you end up having to do is you end up having to try to bump those speakers up a little bit higher. Well, if the signal coming into it is too hot, then the signal coming out of it is distorted. So it was a balance on this particular one. It was the only thing I had, because I was thinking we could just run the wire all the way down until I saw how busy that huge front of that bank was. So the one I needed was the one that was XLR to XLR as far as in and out. That particular one we jumped across the street on the other side with. Absolutely fabulous, and you had the same, basically there was no down, or there wasn't any loss whatsoever. So that particular one's the only one that's not on sale right now. Sennheiser has all of those little XSWs on sale, except the good one, or the one that DJs would be the most likely wanting to have. This is still cool for like times at MJ, if we're doing like DJ Expo, you could put it with your camera, you hand them the microphone, and they could do that if you wanted to go that route. So it's a neat, and it has applications. But if it's not the other one, I wouldn't use it for jumping audio because of that. One of the other problem is laptops. The temperature, the working temperature for most laptops is 50 degrees or warmer. And of course, we started the day at 30 degrees, and the temp was supposed to fall throughout the night, and we were going to end at about 20 degrees at 8 o'clock. Too cold for a laptop, most likely. And I wasn't about to put it in a shed or anything to that effect. So we ended up going with iPads. Complete iPad with everything, because iPads have a lower tolerance for cold, or a lower temperature. They go down to 30 degrees. I figured I was close enough. And if that didn't work, I had my cell phone, which would become my backup of my backup. Now, because I didn't have the power and such, the way they had the power set up, and we were kind of, it's like, I want to make sure that this iPad is plugged in and charging, because if it has a charging cable to it, it might produce a little more heat and keep itself warm. So there's my Ryobi little device. Turn the Ryobi on, plug that sucker in, because I know that is going to be producing power, and yeah. So that was my little system there. So overall, they were ecstatic with it. They were happy as all get out. A couple of things I want to do differently and better for next year. One is probably add a couple more speakers to stretch out would be another, and then of course the wireless device, and we'll see. Hopefully the weather will be as nice or nicer, though. That wind when it came whistling down that street, it was pretty cold. So
that was incredible, though. I mean, like for you made that work. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't have gone that far. They would have kind of given up.
Yeah, it was a little kind of fiddling around, and I was really surprised that it went together as well as it did. I mean, there was a lot of, as Lori, she's like, that was a really stressful event. And when my wife tells me it's stressful, that means that I've been wearing that stress on me for days, if not weeks ahead of time.
Right.
And to a point, that's true, because if you guys have seen me do any of the fall wireless videos, or some of those that we did back in early October, that was all testing for this, trying to make those things piggyback and jump and audio-wise. And so it was an interesting thing. And it was good, when we got it all said and done and everyone was happy. And I didn't, because of having all the wires and having all the pieces, so I didn't have to go out and buy a $3,000 something or another to make it work. So Jimmy shuts down after 50 degrees. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way too, Jimmy.
There was
room temperature 72. Anything below that's unnecessary.
There was a porta potty right next to us, actually, which because of all the people in town, there were times where there was a line of 20 people right outside that little. I don't know if they were expecting. They had 3,000 people there during the parade. It was crazy.
Wow.
And this isn't a huge town. It's a nice sized community, but yeah, considering it was Black Friday, that was something. So
I think we had more than that in my high school, actually.
Yeah, probably. You crazy kids. Okay, so the final part of the show that I wanted to hit on is kind of talking about conventions, and then we're going to go to kind of a walkthrough of where we will be coming up here in February. As many of you know, is first off, we're going to be doing our show. The links and such are in the description. We'll get back to that. In March, we're going to be coming up with Mobile Beat Las Vegas. If you guys have not heard, Mobile Beat has been sold. Ryan Berger, who has been the owner of Mobile Beat for the last, oh my goodness gracious, 2006 was his first year. So 13 years, 14 years, something like that. He'll be doing maybe 14 shows. This will be Ryan's last year. He has sold. He's moving on into his next phase of his life, which is being a full-time teacher. And he's now teaching down in Iowa there and enjoying his time in the school and working with kids and doing things such as that. And it's his retirement party that we'll be doing in March of 2020 at Mobile Beat Las Vegas. So for a lot of people, this is their chance to come back and say thank you, to say goodbye to that aspect of it. Now, what's going to be happening with Mobile Beat is that's going to be getting rolled into the Photo Booth Expo, because the gentleman from Photo Booth Expo, they purchased Mobile Beat, and those components are all going to be rolled into what you're seeing us do in February of this upcoming year. So it'll be the Photo Booth Expo DJNTV event this year. In 2021, you will have, in essence, the same event, but we'll be welcoming the Mobile Beat crowd into that. And then it will be just the one large show in February, and there won't be anything in March. One of the big appealing parts to that for a lot of people is that it's a lot cheaper to fly in March than it is, or excuse me, February than it is in March. As an example, MJ, Sun Country sends out a thing on Friday for Black Friday. I could book airfare to Vegas from January through February, but not into March. It was $44 one way, so it's $88 for down and back. Plus, I got 10 times my air miles. So for me, it's like, I don't know, I think it's 1,100 miles down or whatever it is. Right. So instead of that, it's like 11,000 miles is what they gave or will be giving for that flight down there.
Wow. I had a friend of mine just tell me a story. He was in Vegas and paid that much money to catch an Uber from one part of the strip to the other.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Yeah, the Ubers, if you catch them at the wrong time and if there's a delay. Yeah, we've been there, had that. I've got $40 to get to a hotel numerous times.
Yeah, so. But he did. So, yeah.
So, yeah, it was there's some, and the airfare is still very inexpensive, even if you miss the Black Friday weekend sales and such. So that's going to be a positive for many people. And, of course, Photo Booth Expo has this huge exhibit hall that has already some DJ-specific things in, but there's more things coming in as we speak. I mean, these shows, the exhibit hall is like 90% full. So you're talking there's very, very little space left. So that's all kind of cool. But anyway, Mobile Beat. So February will be where that ends up in 2021. Last one will be March of 2020. Then moving ahead for other events you're going to have your Midwest DJs Live coming up at the end of April. You're going to have another event in Chicago at the Marquee Show at the end of July. It's been moved back, I think, a week or two. DJ Expo out on the East Coast again. So there's going to be a variety of different events throughout the year, throughout spring and summer. We get into fall. We've got Wedding MBA. During that, I don't know if the week ahead of that or the week after that, you've got the DJ Collective that's going on. So there's just a lot of educational experience out there. People ask MJ, probably the biggest thing I get is, well, which one should I go to? Which one's the best? And I think that, and that's what I wanted to just take a few minutes is, like, let's start at the one that you and I have been going to together here for the last number of years. We're going to start with DJ Expo. DJ Expo, I think there's education for those who want that, but I don't think that's the focus of the show. Would you agree with me on that?
I would say this last year, in my opinion, got a good balance. I think there was a good balance for whatever you wanted, whether you wanted equipment, whether you wanted education, whether you wanted parties, or whether you wanted networking. I really think there was a good balance this year for everything, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But it's not centered at education. Education would be just like one quarter, and you kind of catch them. That's the way I see it, at least. I mean, it's definitely not the forefront.
Yeah. I think, and we've referred to DJ Expo because of the exhibit hall and that being such a huge draw, and it still is quite a draw. It's not what it once was, but it still is a draw. And I guess as you look at it, they have been the seminars, there is a larger variety of different things that were being offered and such. And yeah, Jay Brandon, DJ Expo equals gear and drinking. And the interesting thing is, if you went to the Pioneer seminar, you probably saw. No, I'm just kidding. It was Jay up there. Jay was up there showing us
that one, so I can, whatever you want, whatever story you want me to tell.
Jay was up there introducing the new controller that Pioneer had just brought out there at the show, the 1000 SRT, and it was a very popular session. In other words, I couldn't get in there too. When it first started, it's like wall to wall people in that room at that time. It was pretty.
It was a wall to wall session of him repeating himself.
Pretty much, because it was. I think he
1000, and it runs Serato.
And people continue to ask the question, the same types of questions. It's like, did you just listen?
Does it run Serato? Yes, it runs Serato.
And it's for Pioneer. Yeah, that was. So that was kind of cool. So DJ Expo, for the people who are looking for gear, you want to have some hands-on time. This is a great opportunity for that. Some people say, "Oh, you should go to NAMM if you want to touch gear." Yeah, most people can't go to NAMM because it's not an industry event that way. That's more for insiders, news, what have you, or dealers. It's just not the same thing. So gear and education, East Coast, DJ Expo is the way to go. Working back, we'll go back and then we'll go forward. Backwards, getting into July with the Marquee Show in Chicago, you're getting into an event where it's more of a focus on some networking and education. There are some vendors there, and there were last year some great deals, and a couple of vendors I had never seen before that were there that had some incredible offerings that people were like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to add this to my system or my options." But it's for those who are looking for getting to meet other DJs and to talk shop. More of a wedding feel to that. But if you're looking for that type of an experience, the Marquee Show was certainly that. And you get to spend 3 days basically hanging with other DJs. Backing up into April, you've got the Midwest DJs Live happening up in Milwaukee. Very similar in the standpoint that you've got the kind of a Wisconsin base of DJs who attend. It's that wedding-esque feel, wedding DJ feel. They do some things where there's some mixing in all the shows. So it's not like it's just, there's no controllers and there's no things nothing like that. They're there, but it's more of a sales and business focus in with these shows. And the networking. It's the hanging and living with DJs for three weeks. Backing up again, getting into Mobile Beat in March. Mobile Beat is one, they've had multiple tracks of education. It's a great spot to learn, and they have motivational speakers there. The exhibit hall isn't what it once was, as are any of the shows. They've all had a downturn. But it's a spot where you can learn, and it's like a family reunion, really, is what that one is. Because there's people who will come to Vegas year after year. There's people who will not buy a pass anymore because they're like, okay, I've been there, seen that, or whatever. But they want to come to Vegas to see their friends and such. And that's really what Vegas is. Education, the networking, family reunion feel is what Mobile Beat has become. So then backing up into what we're going to be doing is some of those same things is what we're going to be doing is the idea that we're going to have a good education, DJs talking to DJs. We're going to have some networking rooms that people can spend time with and to learn and share ideas and share information. But the first year, our goal with this is to basically put something together that's going to be able to help you improve your business. You're going to come down, you're going to meet a lot of DJs, and you're going to be, when you leave, my goal of this is that you should have about 10 to 12 names of people that you've gotten to meet at a level that you can actually truly friend them on Facebook and consider them friends. Not just someone you saw in a hall and you sent them a friend request. These people you actually were able to spend time with, and they know you, you know them. And to be able to say, hey, you know what, I have a problem, or I got a question, or I got this, I got that. That's what we're looking for with that. And again, it's going to be designed similar to some of the things you see at Mobile Beat, because that's kind of where we were designing it, knowing that we're going to be bringing the Mobile Beat crowd in 2021. Going the other direction after DJ Expo, you get into Wedding MBA. Wedding MBA is probably one of the coolest events for a wedding person because you're not only rubbing elbows with DJs, you've got the whole wedding industry. You've got some catering people there. You've got photographers, videographers. You've got coordinators, florists. Anyone that's in the wedding industry is part of Wedding MBA because they have tracks and educational content for each little niche within the wedding world. So there's a lot of cool things there, and you can, again, hang out and talk to coordinators and asking questions and bouncing ideas off them, or hearing them rant about DJs and saying, ooh, there's 5 things I don't want to be doing. That's what Wedding MBA, and it's a hugely valuable show. If you can make that one. That happens in Las Vegas. Then the Collective. I don't know if it's ahead or after Wedding MBA. The DJ Collective, they just finished up actually a couple of weeks ago. The DJ Collective is Joe Bunn, Brian Bonacisi, and Jason Janai really kind of worked on and built this year's show. It was they had planned for 100 DJs. They had a little bit more than that. They were down in Scottsdale, and it became this kind of little group of people who lived together for 3 days and shared ideas, and a lot of panels and discussions. And hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? What do you think of this? A lot of that was going on in their group settings, and they've had some incredible things. Go to discjockeynews.com/papers. This month's issue, which just hit, the December issue, Reed Mitch Taylor wrote about what the Collective was like, and there's some really cool things that were unique in there. One of the cool things that he talked about was they had a hidden room, whatever, that was a swag room. So basically, you go in there and it's like, here's the swag room, pick what you want, and go. I did that once with candy bars.
Yeah.
It was good. Candy bars. So, but it was a different experience, and their educational content was at a higher level. It was more engaging. It was a combination of not only taking in, but it was giving back at that higher level. Price-wise, it was much more expensive than all the other shows. Pretty much more expensive than all the other shows put together. But you also, because of that investment, you were there to learn. You were there to grow your business and to give back as much as you possibly could, because I've got this much money. I'm not going to go drink the night before. That was great. That was a good experience, and I'm glad. So they're going to be moving it to Asheville, I believe, North Carolina. I want to say it's Asheville. Whatever. I'm not sure the week. You guys just go search DJ Collective on Facebook. But they're going to, they expanded it to 200 people because they ended up selling out, and I think they did sell a couple more tickets beyond the 100. But they're going to have a really nice event. Once again, the guys did a fabulous job. As you read through Mitch's article, that would have been a fun one to go to. Okay. That's the big events. Now, I want to take you guys through. We've just today, one of our team were down at the South Point, and they spent the day getting pictures and going around and doing different things. So we're going to look at where we will be in February. If you're not familiar with South Point is the casino on the south end of Vegas. Basically, you've got the Trop and the MGM. South is the airport, and just past the airport is the South Point. It's about a 7-8 minute drive to get from South Point into the Tropicana and up in that neck of the woods. They've got shuttles from the airport. They have shuttles, free shuttles to get you up to the Strip and such. So it's a cool facility. Nice clean rooms, nice clean facility. Cheaper rooms than you would find up on the Strip. The biggest complaint people had when Mobile Beat was out there, because they were out there, Photo Booth Expos has been out there for a number of years. The complaint was, well, it's not on the Strip. Yeah, that's true. It isn't on the Strip, but there's a lot of cool things in this, and we'll look at a couple of them here today. But there's a lot of stuff to do here. And really, when you go to these conventions, I would rather sit across a table and talk to somebody about shop, talk business, what have you, than to go and walk down the Strip and go drink these 4-foot long bottles of whatever it is that they serve up there.
And have flyers stuffed in your face.
Exactly. Yeah, those little cards. They're handing the cards up. So, South Point. Oops, I got to get to the right. I'm not. There we go. So, of course, we got this so Jimmy could use this in some graphics. I'm sure he'll find a way to utilize that in his graphics. This is probably where you're going to find me most of the time. There is a Steak and Shake right in the building. That escalator you're seeing right there actually goes up, and it is right across the hall, I believe, from our room, from our Brunswick room where we will be. So you can come down that escalator, or maybe you go up that escalator. Anyway, it's close. Very close. There's Steak and Shake on site, and probably the most important part that you need to know is that Sunday through Thursdays, they have a happy hour at the Steak and Shake where it is half off for shakes. I really think we should change the schedule and we should shut down from like 2 to 3 to go get a shake. But that'll be going on for the week. So upstairs, we got a few shots of the room. The exhibit halls are on one floor. The educational content for photo booth expos over on another wing, and then the educational content for the DJ is in a third area. The exhibit area is right here. So on the right is the exhibit room from here all the way down to the Christmas tree and beyond. That's all the exhibit space that we will be utilizing for photo booth expo and in the DJ. And so that's the photo booths and the DJ stuff is all inside there. To the left, this is where the master classes are, and this is where one of the rooms will be the DJNTV chill room. So when you guys are in the exhibit area, you can do that, and you can come across to the chill room and hang out. That's where a lot of us are going to. Jimmy's blood sugar is going up. That's where we're going to be kind of hanging out in a loose, informal. Down, you see that there's a person standing at the end of the hall. Just down a little bit from there, there's a little coffee. I think it was maybe like a little knockoff Starbucks type of a place that did serve Starbucks coffee, and I do believe they can make frappuccinos. So there's a few things on this level, and then once you get down to the casino area, there's a lot more things. These stairs and the escalators here are past that guy that we were just seeing, kind of down about another 100 feet, and you turn around, and this is going downstairs. You come down the escalators. There's a moving walkway that the photographer's on right now, but it is a long haul, so they have moving walkways there, and you can head on back to the casino where all the food and different things are. And it doesn't take very long because of escalator moving walkway, so it's not a huge thing, but there is a little bit of a distance for that. This particular room, the next 3 pictures are from where the parties are going to be held. This is, I'm just going to bounce through there's the bar, but this is their setup and such. It's a club, kind of a showroom that they have, and they're going to be setting this up for our the Monday night party, and I believe the Wednesday night party, if I'm not sure about the Wednesday night one, but they have a really cool little club, and it's got, let's see if I can get back to, they've got the little seating areas that we're seeing, there we go, in that picture, where it's kind of these little networking areas where you can get, have 3 or 4 people sit around and kind of, talk shop, what have you. And there's, again, bar, and you can get some food, I guess, still, brought in here. So it's kind of a neat little experience. And there's going to be, I think it's like an 80s and 90s event on Monday night that will be held here in the showroom. So that should be a pretty cool little event. So then we're going to go to our room. So we went back to the Steak and Shake. We went up the escalator, went right up the second floor. This is the Brunswick room. This is where we will be with the DJ side of things. It's a really kind of a nice little a nice room there. Just going to give you a couple of shots of the room. This should be able to handle 200 and some people without too much problem. And let me go back there. So we're going to have on the far end, that's where we will have our stage, and we'll have a screen left and right. The TV right now is where it is. But that'll be that. And Howie's going to have programmed a light show that will fill this space, and then we will be ready to have some fun. The biggest downfall with this is that this room, while being cool, is a little bit of a walk. It's probably about 2 or 3 minutes to walk from here to the chill room and to the exhibit hall, somewhere in that ballpark. There's a little bit of a walk this year, but we have to do that because even from where Photo Booth Expo has their seminars, it's still probably a 2 or 3 minute walk. And they've got another seminar room next to that can handle 1,000 people. Well, we aren't going to have 1,000 DJs here this year. So renting that big room for the $10,000 or $20,000 a day just didn't make sense, where this room is going to be closer to our needs for the year. This is right kind of across the hall from us. This is the top of that escalator. That Steak and Shake is right at the bottom of this. And this is a movie theater that's up here. And during the day, they have really cheap movies in there. A lot of people think that's pretty cool to go. Probably the neatest thing I found is that little concession stand. They've got a little Pizza Hut. They've got little 9-inch Pizza Hut pizzas there. So if you want to go grab some food or drink, you can go over there. Or to the left of this picture is the bowling alley, and they have concessions and such in there that are available at all hours of the day, and they're not too terribly expensive whatsoever. Oh, here's a shot of the moving walkways to give a person an idea of what those are like. And then, of course, if you're a late night or an early morning person, they have a Coronado Cafe. And I looked at this at first when he sent me this picture, and it's like, why would we want this? Because you know what? Who's up at that hours? And then it's like, wait, midnight? I'm thinking of the number of times at midnight that I would have killed for a steak and eggs.
John, that's like when I stop working at night. You know, like when most people quit, like dinner time. Dinner time is midnight for me. Mm-hmm. So to go get biscuits and gravy at midnight, oh, it's on.
Yeah, and for $3.
Oh yeah, they're gonna hate me.
Yeah, that was kind of a cool thing. So when Lori and the kids and I were out there, there's a little deli. And they had where you could get a whole pizza, or you could get it by the slice. And I think the slice was like $4 a piece. So we'd get a slice of pizza, or we went over to Steak and Shake. One of the two, depending upon if the kids were like, "Oh, I'm tired of burgers, but Dad's only eating 6 today." So after we get done with that, then and then I think that was the end of it. So we would hit those spots, and then in the evening, hit one of the little cafes, because they've got a steakhouse in there, and they've got all sorts of different foods and things that are there. So it's a neat facility, a neat experience, and I think a lot of people will really enjoy that atmosphere. And of course, there's going to be time that people can go and head on down. Oh, hey, Jimmy's got. Okay, just a second. I'm going to see if I can pull that up on this computer. Jimmy made a graphic that a lot of. I want a
graphic of how high his blood sugar is.
Yeah, he's already charting his blood sugar level.
You and me both, Jimmy.
It's gonna be crazy. So no way. I wanted to have one of the little graphics made that I'll be attending the convention type graphic, so people can share that. And he's got it, because this is.
We'll put it on their Facebook page.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop this open here.
Profile picture.
Yes. There we go. That opened up.
Yeah, so for anyone who is going to that, any night that we're there and it's after midnight, you want to go eat, call me. I'll go with you. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a total stranger. We're going to go eat.
We're going to go. It'll be fabulous, man. I don't know if I can stretch this. Wait. Oh, there we go. There we go. So that's what Jimmy's been working on right there. So that's actually going to be very similar to what the front will or what we will look like at the show this year. So thanks, Jimmy, for getting that put together and get that over and such. And you guys will be seeing that around, hopefully more, on people's Facebook pages as they get their tickets and make their plans to go to Vegas in February. So yeah, that was kind of my thought. My thoughts for the show tonight. My blood sugar stays around 400. William, that might be a little high.
I don't even know if that's good or bad. There.
From what Jimmy's saying, if it's over like 100 and a quarter, it's bad, and if it's like 200, it's like horrible, and if it's like yeah. Again, I don't know. I'm not sure. So
yeah, I get mine checked once a year, and I'm good.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. They check it at the doctor's office, and then he says, "Boy, you don't do very well anymore, do you?" It's like, just don't judge me. So have you? I've had people asking, and maybe you've heard this. Controllers that are going to be coming out. Have you been having people ask you about different controllers?
If I had $1 for every question I got, I wouldn't have to go DJ. I would just sit around and answer questions. I'm telling everybody the same thing without giving any hints about anything that's coming out. Don't buy anything for Christmas. Wait, because from what I'm hearing, several brands will be having stuff at least by NAMM, which is January, 16th?
Yeah, somewhere in that ballpark.
Something like that. So it's just over a month. At that point also, if you don't want the new stuff, remember the stuff that was just about before it, its price will go down.
Exactly.
So it depends on what you want or what you need. There is stuff coming. again, one of the things I talk about is like what you need as a DJ. Because I've had people ask me recently, because I post a lot of pictures of my stuff when I'm out DJing. They're like, "Oh, that's a nice setup." I'm thinking about getting a new one. Do you think that'll work for me? And then I'll go into a conversation about it and find that they don't even use a controller, and they just want something to add to their laptop, which is good. It's good to take that step, but you would have to learn at that point that the big controller would not necessarily be for you. So that's kind of stuff you have to think about first. I did a video years ago. I should redo it on how to choose the right DJ equipment for you, because for someone spending a lot of money on a top level controller is a must, where other people it's not necessary. And some other people, they might want to have 2 or 3 setups for different reasons. So, but I get a lot of questions, and there is stuff coming. If you don't believe me, go Denon's guy, Layback Luke, who did this little hidden picture he showed of stuff, and I've talked to a few of the other brands that said stuff is coming. That I don't want to tell anything about it because they're really good, and they tell, when I ask questions, they answer them at the expo. So that's why I don't want them to stop answering questions, because it's like, yes, if I know about that, or that sort of thing. But it's going to be interesting as the technology grows and changes. DJing itself is changing, the way we connect with our music and with our audiences. If you're not advancing as a DJ, going to these expos, going to the shows, going to the educational stuff, and changing yourself year by year, if you're not doing that, you're going to get left behind, and you're not going to make money. And that's the bottom line of it. Most of you do this for money. Very few are in it just for the love of music, even though we all love it.
Yep.
A lot of people want to make money. You have to think about the system of the way things go. And it's every 3 to 5 years, you're going to have to do a turnover and rethink your settings, your mindset, and all of that. And by going to these expos, you're going to be getting, if nothing else, you're going to get the inclination of the things coming before, if you didn't go and you just sat back and all of a sudden you're like, hey, everybody in the community's doing this type of wedding now. When did this start? So it's important to do that. Like I said, my goal, my look at it is every 3 to 5 years. You have to rethink things. And that's, to me, that's rebranding your websites to make them fresh, business cards, lighting, setups, everything.
I would definitely agree, because not that the gear can't go longer.
Right. But here's the thing with the gear that I'm hearing people talking about. Let's use an example. The Denon 6000 MK1, because I'm a Denon person. Is not longer supported. So they're complaining like, wow, I got the new Virtual, I got the new Serato, and I can't make it work with this. We have to realize that thing has been discontinued 6 or 7 years ago. So if you do hold on to equipment for a long time, there's a chance that the software you're using will stop working on that as it advances. So you also have to think on that lines too. It's not just, well, this will last me 15 years. It may continue to work for 15 years, but the software and drivers and different things may not be compatible, and then one day it's a dust collector.
Actually, mine is sitting right on the other side between two turntables, and it's become strictly a mixer.
Analog mixer, more or less.
That's
which is fine. Which I have one that's that way too. But that's why I say you have to think about stuff that I'm on the far side of things, to where I look for a new controller every 2 years. I want to update every 2 years, and that's kind of more on the advanced side than most people do. But like I said, you kind of have to take a look at things and see where they're at. Like I said, because certain software is coming out, and if they change something that doesn't work, or if Apple with their endless amounts of operating systems that don't work, you have a chance of losing something like that. But it's like I said, if nothing more, to pay attention to stuff, see what's out there, and see what fits what you do, because we're not all the same DJ. We all don't have the same needs.
Yeah, that's for sure. A lot of different variety out there. I will mention one thing. Some of us have gotten a chance to play with the Roland, the 707M. About the only thing we'll say is that the Roland actually has changed one of the competitors. They were going to be coming out with a controller, and they changed based on the amount of excitement around 3 microphone inputs.
That's the thing that a lot of the people, when the companies put these things out, someone will look at my 7000 and the fact that it has two mics, but one mic has a high and low adjusted and the other one just has a tone. So for a wedding guy to have a mic that only has a tone, not a mid, low, high, is almost useless.
Yeah.
So you have to look at things like that 707, which is giving you three mics with all three adjustments and effects. And it also, this is the thing that amazed me that I thought was super cool, has a dedicated out, or is it dedicated? Yeah, dedicated out, so that videographers can have a channel of just the microphones going to their camera.
Oh, nice.
And they're doing toast, and if there's music playing in the background, you could choose to have it in there or not. But if they just want to pick up the microphone directly, that thing has an ability to shove the microphone channel to the videographer so he can get a direct line.
Very nice.
Stuff like that is why that is there.
Yeah. And there's been a lot of interest and a lot of excitement. I didn't even know that capability with the
There's a couple little things like that. They're strictly designed for what a wedding DJ would need in his atmosphere when it comes to tying into photographers, videographers, lines in, lines out, microphones, dual music for different areas, stuff like that. That's what that one's kind of set for, as opposed to someone like me. Like one of the places I DJ on a regular basis, I come in and I plug into one, not a right and left, one XLR for the whole system. And that's all I do the whole night. So I don't need the other stuff, but for a wedding person, that's why that thing is kind of, coming out, and kind of some of the other brands are changing up because they're seeing that a person who does weddings on a regular basis, minimum one a week, some of them two or three, depending on how busy they are, multi-op, stuff like that, they need the multiple mics that have full control and adjustability, and they don't need something that's 12 feet wide because they're not going bananas crazy on the mixing.
Yeah.
So all they need is the little basics that they have, and the 707 has all of that. And if I'm correct, it does also have a hidden feature, like all of the Rolands. It has the drum machine in there too, if you did need that. It's buried in there somewhere, and I don't remember how that was though. But I did a video on it. Look at the DJ Expo from the fall. I did a video with the guy from Roland there, and he talked through it and told all about that. So go back and look at Disc Jockey News on YouTube, and it's there.
Yeah, I think that with Matt. I think it was Matt.
Oh yes, it was Matt. I'm horrible with names.
Yeah,
so.
Matt's the guy. He was going and showing some tricks and things with that. It's like a lot of cool features, and of course, what the neat thing is a firmware update, and it has a whole new set of new features.
That's the cool thing that that years ago you start with a piece of equipment and you get what you get. You look at some of the stuff now where they had hidden Wi-Fi in there, and they go, oh, all of a sudden now this is this, and then okay, now this is this, or it can use this piece of equipment or this software, or we can add on this, and that's the cool thing because everything we're buying is essentially a small computer of some sort.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, stuff's coming that's going to blow your freaking mind because we knew about the Wi-Fi in some of the Denon products 2 years before they announced it. 2 years. So there's stuff coming that you don't know that's in your hands, or something you may be picking up in the next 6 months that you will find out its full potential in like a year. And then a year after that, it gets
obsolete
old and outdated, and you have to replace it with something new. Which is part of what they want you to do, is to buy stuff. So
they got to keep that cycle. So. Well, we're going to wrap things up. No, that was good. Thank you, MJ. Thank you guys for being with us tonight. We will be, back again tomorrow night. Ben Stowe, we're going to be talking, you know what, I don't even remember what we're going to be talking about tomorrow night. Lighting. We're actually going to talk about washing a dance floor with light. That's a question people are like, hey, I just want to be able to watch. We're going to dig into that tomorrow night. And then Brian and I think we're going to be looking at our look at the songs from 2019 that are going to be something that you will be using in 2020 and 2025 and maybe 2030 or maybe never again. But we're going to talk about that and have that discussion tomorrow night on DJNTV. So MJ, once again, thanks for being with me tonight.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you guys for being with. We'll catch you tomorrow night. Bye-bye.